Hey, this is Notser, and we're in the Tier 10 Premium French Battleship Bourgogne on the map Sleeping Giants. Build is on the screen. It is a secondary build. It's literally the exact same build I use on my Alsace, so it's a good comparison video, first of all. And you might be wondering, what the hell kind of secondary build is that? This is my build. I just like it. It's a very hybrid concealment, main battery reload. I do choose to take preventative maintenance and accompany it with auxiliary armament module to improve the secondary NAA health, and it just works. This build feels really good, really effective, the way I play my French and German battleships. And speaking of battleships, a tier 10 Alsace with main battery reload? Really? Did the game need this? I don't know if the game needed it, but we're getting it, and I'm going to test it and share my thoughts on it. I'm sorry that this took so long. There's been a lot of real life issues. It sucks. But main battery reload module, same health as the tier 9 Alsace. So you're deciding to give up your aircraft, which you could choose to equip to this, which would be really weird. But you could choose to equip your aircraft in the main battery reload slot and have a tier 10 Alsace. I don't know, maybe you like the Alsace so much you'd rather play it in ranked or clan battles. I don't know. But I tried to use the main battery reload on the Buffalo. Of course, the Buffalo is, wiped out and drops off detection. You can't see it at all, can't take advantage of that really tiny window. The Jean Bar is the tier 9 equivalent of this. It's got forward-facing guns. It's much easier to always guarantee that those guns will be able to fire. If you want to get the most out of this, you need all 3 gun turrets with the 12 guns firing on a target. It requires that you're way more open, way more vulnerable, but the damage output is extreme. Extreme. I really don't know how they can balance this other than making this a glass cannon. It gives up all apparent health upgrades, anything that I would associate with a tier 10 battleship to have that main battery reload, and I still don't know that that's enough. I think by the time that people recognize how strong this is, they won't treat it with the respect it deserves. And let's be honest, focus fire in random is non-existent. People are just farming damage. They don't really care. Maybe they're not even aware of what is in front of them. It's very easy to get lost in the battle. What's going on your flank, what's going with you, and you forget all of the things that you could take advantage of. So I don't really see this as a ship that will feel balanced until we get more knowledge on the opposing side. Until that happens, boy, this is just going to run over everything. And I don't know how it isn't going to run over everything. It just is absolutely brutal, and the damage output, 20,000, 19,000, sorry. For anyone who's very specific, 19,000 salvo. I've got an enemy here at Kaze. He's trying to capture this base. Secondaries are firing on him. I'm rotating. Now, I'm trying to rush over to keep the friendly DD in front of me so he can screen for torpedoes. And because I've got this really awesome 12,000, do I really need main battery reload? It's just going to be icing on this at this point. Yeah, friendlies take him out. I was like, well, I did not expect that kind of salvo, so I'm just going to move on to the next one. And it is so intimidating to see this kind of damage output from people. Just constant salvos. And yeah, they're not reaching their mark sometimes. But still, a battleship that can fire every 10 seconds. Holy crap, is that scary. Holy crap, is that scary. Now, are you trying to escape? Yeah, he's going to escape. But it's a tier 10 Alsace with main battery reload. There's really nothing else here. It has the same main battery reload that I am familiar with the Jean Bar. You probably are not, because they still haven't released the Jean Bar. I've tested it for like a month at this point. It's really fun. If you like the Alsace, you like the ship. And spoiler alert, everyone likes the Alsace, so everyone's going to like the ship. I don't know how this is balanced. Like, this is using all of the techniques that they've implemented for the Jean Bar, and it still just does tons and tons of damage. We've already done 81,000 damage in 6 minutes. Yeah, and a lot of salvos were wrong. They were poorly shot by me. 1,500 damage, really, on the Buffalo. Should have been 20,000 damage and wiped him out. And this Yamato, he's about to show a full broadside, and I want to finish him off. At least do a ton of damage. I don't know how this feels balanced. I just don't. Because a good player is going to recognize that if they are seen, they are going to be shot at. They don't have the help to mitigate it. And what do you do in that instance? Well, you just don't let them fire at you. You can conceal yourself for the next salvo or the next main battery reload cooldown, and then turn that on, and boom, you are now doing a ton of damage. Great gun velocity, of course, on the French battleships. I don't know how this ever feels balanced. I'm probably the most aggressive build that you'll ever see in this ship, a secondary build, and it's just so effortless to do damage. Now, I wanted to try and test out the high explosive effectiveness, so I decided to switch to high explosive, knowing full well, and of course, what an angle of penetration. This is the exact same setup as the Alsace, but now I want to test high explosive. How effective is it to set a target on fire multiple times? The ideal scenario for this is you see a target that's already vulnerable to damage control. They've used it. You fire on them. You set 2, 3, 4 fires on the target, and you just allow him to burn for a significant amount of time. And it's really scary. It is really scary. There's really nothing anything can do. 12 guns is really intimidating, at least with the 8-gun setup of the Jean Bar. That's 8 guns. 8 guns is a disadvantage. 12 at tier 10, there is no disadvantage here. 12 guns is equivalent to the maximum armament for the highest number of guns in the game at tier 10. So you are playing exactly what everyone else is playing. And yeah, I really like the Alsace. This is the Alsace 2.0. I don't know anyone who would reject this, but I could absolutely see players who hate and loathe the design. It just, it is encouraging a very front-loaded, very less than tactical approach to the game. It's just brutalizing targets with the overwhelming firepower that you can just put out, and I don't know that that's always healthy. I don't know that that is a good direction to always go. It seems to be the direction that we're going with the French premium battleships, and I do like the intent, the feeling. Obviously it feels great, but I don't know that it could ever be balanced correctly. It could ever not feel overwhelming for the enemy team. Because he's basically doubling your firepower in the cooldowns window. All you have to do is get 1 kill on a target. If you get 1 kill on a target during your main battery reload doubling, it's paid for itself. The entire game is a bonus at that point, and who cannot get a kill on a target in the allotted time that main battery reload exists? There's not really much else to talk about. You're giving up your aircraft, which is a disadvantage. I believe, at least in testing, you could equip a scout aircraft. I want to verify that. For the Alsace itself, you cannot equip a scout aircraft. So there is a little bit of, if I wanted to play the Alsace in a more fair way at tier 10, I could get the scout aircraft and have a different experience than the Alsace, but why would I ever do that? I'm always going to equip the main battery reload module because it's just so good. And it's great for finishing off DDs. It's great for finishing off battleships. It's great for finishing off cruisers. It's great for finishing off everything. It is a universal solution to a problem. And that's probably the biggest issue here. It's very similar to radar. Main battery reload, for battleships at least, is a no-brainer. Really? 7 shells failed to penetrate the target? Really? We had 8 shells make contact, 1 overpin, 7 failed to do. Really, Yamato? God. But other than goofy RNG, this is just very powerful. There's There's really nothing else to comment. In my opinion, main battery reload is probably the strongest consumable they've ever introduced, for the simple fact that it allows you to finish off targets. A lot of players, they suffer in this regard. This is why I am so effective, because I finish off targets. I make it a priority to kill the DDs at any range. Cruisers, battleships, at any range. And having a 10-second reload for a battleship is incredible. Cruisers, destroyers, battleships. You're either farming 30, 40, 50,000 damage on a battleship, or you are quite literally killing a DD all by yourself with overwhelming firepower. You're one-shotting cruisers. 12 guns is 12 guns. It's always going to be good. And then coupling it with main battery reload, it's outstanding. So I don't know what Wargaming could do to tweak this to feel more fair, but this is what we have right now, and this is what we're testing. So 141,000 damage done. We finished off a couple targets. God, we did, what, 12,000 against that DD? Felt really unfair. Hey, that's it. This is what they wanted me to test. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.